Hi, I'm Jeff Blanks, and I'm chairman of Together End Homelessness, and I'm coming to you today here on our fundraiser site to explain who, what, why, when, and where. So let's start with who. Together End Homelessness is a non-profit organization based out of Sandstone, Minnesota. And although we're a national program, yes, we're in Sandstone, Minnesota because that's where it started. And where will it end? Well, that's a big question, but that was who. And Together Home and Last has board of 5 members. You will find our page. I'll put the link up here. There you go. And go to our Facebook page and our website right here. There you go. And get to know us a little better. You know, there's a lot more to the answer who than just us, because we want you to understand who we're actually working for. Now, we get a lot of flack about helping vets and disabled and all sorts of people when talking about homeless families. And the thing to remember is that they're all people. Yes, we do give some priority to a veteran who has a family that needs a home. And being that we haven't really had a chance to really start laying out the money, because the non-interest loans and such that we will talk about later and the what is, it's intended to help a family get done, not really patch. We just don't believe in the patch. So when you talk about who, I want you to look in the mirror, and then I want you to go look at your neighbor, and then I want you to go down to that school and talk to some principals and guidance counselors and find out how many kids aren't in school, and realize can't be that many ditching school today. It's not like it was the 70s and 80s, no Ferris Bueller here. So then let's go look for those missing children. And I can guarantee you at least 1 out of 5 will be a part of a homeless family. And it ain't on purpose. It's because it's the way life rolled out. And you got to remember the who can be you. If you doubt it, look at the places that have flooded. Look at that storm. What is that, Matthew? Oof, Matthew is huge. Matthew is like, he come, he kill. Yeah, it sounds like I'm making light of it, but what you really don't understand is you don't know what's going to happen. Okay? We aren't trying to peddle doom and gloom. And as they used to say, chasing the ambulance. You need a lawyer. No. What I need is somebody who gets the fact that I still got a job. I only lost my home because this happened. Or the building finally went under. And that one happened a lot in my lifetime. That people ended up, the building got closed. It got condemned. It's the only place they had to be, so that's where they were. And eventually some cities, counties, and states eventually catch on to, we should do something about this. Oh, well, all those bodies will have to go somewhere. Not our problem, but we need that health hazard closed down. So, the who is you and your neighbor. And matter of fact, if you back it up, it's community, city, county, state. Now, to be fair, New York has a lot more homeless per capita than, say, Wyoming. The cows are more homeless than the people down there. They have homeless, but it's handled different, and they, established families tend to take care of the little things. I live in a small town, Sandstone, as I mentioned, and I'm a dispatcher for a cab company here. That's how I'm actually sub-financing Together at Home at Last, along with whatever friends and family. Like, I get $5. But I get calls all the time. I'm homeless. They said to call you, which is actually call my boss, Randy, who used to be mayor here. So, yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what fire's going to happen, what landlord's going to turn on you, what job you lost today and got a new one tomorrow. Because, you're a hot ticket, but you're still not Okay? The who, like I said before, and I'm repeating because I want to be careful to make sure you understand. Okay? The who is you, your neighbor, and everybody else. Because we don't know what's going to happen. And we're hoping that you'll kind of kick in so that when we get calls, because now we're in the national registry, not just with the IRS, but with GuideStar and a couple other, Duns Bradstreet, blah, 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 and the list goes on for nonprofit. The longer we're here, the more people write us down. So when our name comes up for helping homeless families, like on the Matthew victims right now, we're going to get calls. And part of the reason I want you to understand who is because I don't want to keep saying no to the calls. We had one lady, I'll give you one day example here. Her name is Rachel. She has some children, and that's all I'm going to tell you because I believe in the HIPAA. HIPAA is that privacy stuff. Okay. So Rachel needed a home. She's been homeless. She's been favored by friends and families and all sorts of stuff, and she's got a job. She's got a perfectly good job as a none of your business. Just say the medical profession is not short of a good person. But she finally found a place right next door in Wisconsin, and we couldn't help her, not only because we didn't have the money, mainly because we didn't have the money, but also because we couldn't get the liaison done between agencies, because Minnesota doesn't want to pay for Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't want to be scammed, so you got to live there to get the assistance. You see how this happens? So now you've got a woman who's got good job, kids to have in school, but she doesn't have a home and had a sweet deal on the house. 6 months after, which is the only reason we'll get into deep what's later, but 6 months into her lease, they would change over to contract for deed if there were no problems, because they wanted to have someone reliable making the payments. That's what every bank and landlord wants, right? Okay, so for $850, we could have got her in there because she was going to trade the cleaning of the house for her other part of the deposit. We were going to require a letter from the landlord in writing that that deal was about rent to own in 6 months, and we could support that. Our charter is to end homelessness, not to do rental assistance. And some people say, well, there's no difference. There's a difference. Okay? So consider helping us out here. And this video is going to be long because we're going to cover all them who, what, why, when, and where. Bet you're going to enjoy the win. Okay? So let's move on to what. Under what is where all the fun begins. And I'm going to take as condensed a time as I can, but I want to make sure we cover all the areas. Okay? So, in order to understand what Together in Home and Last does, is to understand our program kind of in its entirety. So let's get started. What we do is we find people who want to no longer be homeless, have a plan, have a source of income. And yeah, we left it as source of income because not everything's 40 hours a week, right? Okay. And listen to what they want to do. And in the process, help them wrinkle out that plan a bit. And if it's good, it's good, right? And in most cases where the plan is good, this is the part where they've been told by a bank, oh, we can't help you because their credit score was this or some other BS reason. And yeah, I'm going to work on not swearing. But here's the thing. I'm sorry you have a 520 credit score. God knows how you got it. Could have been bad credit habits. Could have been the fact that you've never gotten a credit card. I can tell you, looking you dead in the eye right now, I am 50 years old and I just got my first credit card. No Sears, no nothing. I just always thought it was a bad idea. Excuse me. And then we discovered that we wanted the house that we're in the background here. And in order to do that, we got to have a credit score of, 630, 640, just for a decent mortgage. So now it's, scramble, 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 get a credit card, put your stuff together. Okay, you know what? We as a nonprofit said, that's really anti-helpful. Okay. What we need to do is figure out that they know what they're doing, which is really important. I don't know why people don't get that. You got a plan. I mean, I've been where I have been for 5 years. I'm more than proving myself to, my landlord that I can do what I need to do, but that doesn't mean anything to the bank. It used to. It doesn't anymore. So when you're talking about a family that has a plan, has income, they just been, putting the kids with relatives or even living with them on the streets and campgrounds and this, that, and the other, they just need help, which is what we based our program on. We didn't base it on, the demographics of straight up people are people. There's no color or race or religion separations whatsoever. And I get asked all the time, what about the immigrants? And it's like, if the paperwork's done and they've got an income, we're helping them. If they're illegal, that's not my problem per se, because, you should have caught that in the intake. Where's your social security card, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, let's get back to the what. So now that you've done all this intake and you've sat down with this family, now here's where what and where get kind of mixed up right now. In the next year or two, we plan to open a $600 room hotel. Sorry.
Message from the dark side there is.
Yeah, I'm shooting this one live. I'm not going to do a lot of editing. Anyway, 600 room hotel, which 300 rooms go to transitional housing and 300 rooms go to regular hotel guests. We've already secured the vendors for the amusements and services within the building. We've even got Pine City, Minnesota pretty much committed to helping us out, provided we can get started, which is part of the reason we're talking today. So the what has to be fished. So right now we do the intake, and if we've gathered enough resources, we go with the maximum help allowed, such as funds available. Okay. So there's a down payment assistance program and there's a non-interest loan. Okay. The down payment assistance isn't necessarily under the payback. That's more of a pay it forward, tell other people kind of thing. But if you want to give it back, hey, you turn it down. We're a nonprofit. The non-interest loans, though, are based on minimum wage income and 100,000 to 125,000. Board hasn't finished the vote on that. 100,000 for sure. 125 is in question. Scattered over 30 to make sure that it's affordable. Okay. So now that you've done intake and if we have the building that we're hoping to build, at least here in Minnesota, and we're buying other stuff along the way, because the point to the what is to be able to do the what the day after tomorrow, which is why we're working a very self-sustaining nonprofit plan model, however you want to look at that. But from the what there, if you find out that the plan's kind of weak and they could use some help, if we got the building, we're talking about classes and, you can work on financing, family counseling, chemical counseling, mental health counseling, all that was planned into this one building. It wasn't just, let's build a building and put people in it. No. He went for basically a small village of 600 rooms, shooting for a 5-star service rating for our family hotel side. The food service program that we plan makes sure that people eat and don't spend up that money because they're paying like a third. See, that there's our rental support. So while you're in the transition program, you get to have reasonable rent to put a roof over your head to finish your plan to get your permanent plan. And the permanent plan does not have to be a house. It can be a trailer, which another bank issue I have, don't get me started. It can be an RV for you and your family, but the plan needs to make sure that you do not return to the cycle of homelessness. There you go. So y'all start working, call your friends that, oh, dude, you're still homeless? Oh, you need to talk to these people. Yeah, actually they do. But we're going to need some help so that that's not a wasted phone call, because it's pointless to build and crush people's hopes when it's not necessary. Okay? So remember that before you call your buddy, you might want to throw us some pennies. Just mix the two together. All right. So now we're about done with what? And believe it or not, it's only complicated because right now we don't have the building. And we got 3 states running. We got Minnesota, Colorado, and California running. Okay? And we have 3 states running because that's where our board members are. Jacob's out in California, and Robert's out in Colorado. And, they're all working their program to try and get up and running just like I am now. But since I am the kahuna, I had to work on all of it. And that's what this fund is for. It's for all of it. We can break it down to building, staff, blah, blah, blah. But what it really comes down to is, so existing staff right now who doesn't get paid, yeah, trust me, there are days when I'm like, I can use $5. But all board members swore off pay till we are up and running. I mean, we're like 5th, 6th, 8th, 10th year for the board of directors who even see salary, because we took out the salary. We got some, what do they call that? Reimbursement that can happen, but even that has a cap. Don't go out and spend 20 grand expect to get 20 grand back, because you ain't getting 20 grand back. Right? You can go out and spend 50, 100, something like that, and get a reimbursement on that. So I think we kind of covered the what, because after the plan and the counseling and everything else that's supposed to be going on, because we put in a full education program on purpose, the amount of people who were homeless because they didn't know they had tenants' rights, really annoying. So we put in that public housing class, which falls under housing and family, under the main category under that class. And none of the stuff we plan under the what is all about us. That's another thing I'd like you to understand, because, well, that's important. And I'm trying to cut my time here, so I'm going to go in this real quick. So in the process of building a hotel, that's jobs. And jobs to help people get back to life. We put a floor in. It has been designated, sealed, and delivered, prayed over, and we're going to stick with it. 1 floor dedicated to families that are staying with the program to work at the hotel or property at the time. That pretty much covers the what. I mean, if you're lost, I understand. And I invite you to call me. I'll put a number right there. You go. And you can call me and talk to me for hours and hours. Because I don't mind talking about this. I really don't. I wholeheartedly believe that this is the change that nonprofit needs to do its job. To be there strictly for...
Message from the dark side there is.
Yeah, and the messages started rolling in. For a nonprofit to survive and be viable, really viable, for not only the community but the country and the particular group that we work with, which will roll around to all homeless. We already accepted that the minute we put in our paperwork with the IRS to do our 1023. It's like, you know what? Yeah, give us our nonprofit status. We'll start out with families. We'll start out with veterans and disabled and blah, blah, blah. And from there, we'll just absorb the whole community. So the what that we do is help families get a home of their choosing in their location. Job services are available in multiple states. You know what? I'm going to go and get done with this because, wow, that was 11 minutes and I apologize. I do, but this is my passion. Eventually my legacy. I'm not looking to be famous or rich, but I am determined to succeed. And I'm asking you to help us succeed. Now, we did who, we did what. I don't know if I want to do when or where next. Okay, so time management is the one thing that every good business manager has to deal with, and I'm no different, even in the nonprofit world. So I've been taking breaks in between these things because it gets really heavy and just boom, 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 boom all the time. But right now we're going to talk about when. I even checked with marketing and public relations before I came back over here. Going, which one do you guys think I should do? Oh, I think you should do it. And when was the vote? This fundraiser is scheduled for 4 years. And I did that for 2 reasons, actually. Because I want to make a point here. Not a political commercial, but a point here. Okay? For the next 4 years, we're going to have a president that I get the feeling that nobody likes the other guy anyway. So it's a really lose-lose situation. Doesn't matter who wins. But you, as people in a country, have said, man, I sure wish, government wouldn't be all up in my business and blah, blah, blah. So in order to avoid that, our nonprofit said for these 4 years, this is all we're going to do. We're not endorsing nobody. We're not asking for no government assistance. If there's it's a word I'm looking for, grant that we can get, cool, whatever, until we can get up and running, because I am never giving up on self-sustaining. So that means no government assistance and strictly the public, which is what a nonprofit is. So for the next 4 years, 2016 to 2020, we gonna be out here, every once in a while we have to come back and say, hey, hi, we need $60 to put a filter in or something, whatever, because I want to get to the minimum. Oh, hold on. Oh, good God. Yeah, just so you know, the board is chattering and like, stick to win. Like, all right, sticking to win. So 2016 to 2020 is the plan for Together and Home at Last, and milestones and tables and such to keep track of here. So let's get started. 2016 is going to end kind of quiet. We've got stuff we've got to pay off that we assumed, with what we wanted to do, build a better mousetrap kind of mentality. And, the world will come running. They didn't come running. They're still sniffing around the cheese going, like Limburger. So 2016 is going to end up with kind of a meow. And 2017, we're hoping starts up with kind of a roar, because 17, 18, 19, and 20, we're trying to get the building finished and people employed, people off the streets, and we've got to put in all sorts of services, including transportation and everything else, to make all these programs viable. Okay? And we don't have to do it in Colorado. Colorado is our charitable donation state. We talked to Robert, and he's like, you know what? I just want to help raise the stuff we need and not be distracted by all the political crap that comes with, working with a nonprofit. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So if you want to donate to Together at Home at Last, and it turns out that it's not money, I'm going to give you the address here. There we go. And send it to that address. You can send it to Together and Home at Last. Add the address. Straight to Robert. Robert will then turn around and if you want the receipts and such, you need to say something, not just send something, because we're not mailing out receipts for stuff like that. But that also covers all the donatable land, vehicles, everything will run through Colorado, because they've got a homeless issue out there that's, I can move to Colorado. I'm going to be a writer. And you get there and there's nowhere to rent. Oh, you could buy stuff. Shoot, some of it's quite affordable. I mean, they got government land out there we've even been looking at. But, yeah. So 2017, that's all fundraising, finishing the plots, plans, permits, yada, 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 for hotel, because we need to get that done. California is running a different kind of support program. It's all about getting people into homes and everything. That's the charter. That's not negotiable. But the part that makes that work in 3 different states is California has to approach it with their style because their homeless is different than Colorado's homeless, and Minnesota's homeless is different than California's homeless, and you can see how the cycle goes on. So 2018, building opens. Yep, that's how much just flat straight faith I got. It's like 2018, we're going to get this done, get that building up. Now the building we're talking about is the headquarters for Together at Home at Last, because right now Together at Home at Last runs out of my home. Cool. And I don't mind, but that also means I don't get to do as much intake as I want because it's my home and I can't have 300 people coming through here, besides the fact that we don't have any, real funding here for them. But if you can imagine a small, quiet neighborhood by the hospital suddenly flooded with 300 people's worth of cars and bodies, and bad idea. So we need that building up and running. I would love to get it done next year, but I've learned that construction of major buildings takes more than a couple of months, which was kind of disappointing. It's like 21st century. Star Trek fan. Ain't we supposed to be able to pull it out of a box and build it? Guess not. Okay, so 2018 finishes up the hotel, getting the building, the education building, the main office is up, the headquarters. We spend the tail end of 1819, that'd be 2019, filling in holes, gaps, storage units. Certain pieces of land need to be picked up out in Colorado and California. Because believe it or not, by the Bay Area, wow, you guys are really chatty right now. And you're going to criticize me later. Ha ha ha. In order for this to work, it isn't just about buying houses. It's the transitional housing is just as important as the houses themselves, because during that time, people will be spending time putting their families back together and learning to be a unit again. I have 11 years total of homeless time served. Not all straight in a row, but it's like, oh, we'll be fine, and the next thing goes wrong, and just go on. That being said, so by the time we get to 2020, all the buildings are supposed to be in, all the staff is to be hired, and we're well into mission by 2020, which is why we set these 4 years as the deadline milestones for here on fundraiser.com. And when I say milestones and timelines, I mean this. When we get to 2020, okay, and this is what I'm asking you to help us to commit to as people. So I'm not going to do the public television thing. I'll be back in 3 weeks and we'll be talking more. No, okay. I want you to understand exactly what we're doing. So here we go. By 2020, I want that self-sustaining program up and running. Okay, full-blown, wide open valve. Hey, just roll them through the door, baby. Keep them coming. There we go. And that's why you guys get kind of bugged for 4 years. We may need a little help from time to time, but the less we pull from the public and more we take care of ourselves, I believe the more we will be endorsed as not just a legitimate program, but a viable program. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say this and I'm going to go, because this one I want a lot shorter. United Way, Red Cross, and all of the gang got started by people who had money to start that and keep it going while, other things were coming up and going. We want to kind of change the system, because if you've ever had a program in your city, state, county, however you want to say it, that left, it's like, oh, I found out, so I'm calling Urban League here in Minnesota. St. Paul Urban League, which is where I grew up, St. Paul, died really in 2012, and 13 was more. It was just it's a place you never thought would go. The Urban League is 100 years old. Of course, they'll be fine forever. No, times change and things die. Okay, so we don't want to be them. And you can't make everybody conform. Okay? Don't get that twisted. Oh, you're going to handle the homeless problem. It's like, yeah, we're going to handle the homeless problem of those who don't want to be homeless. Those who want to be homeless, ain't much to be done about them, and that falls under a different chunk of the law. And, you know, it's fun watching this country reshape and make things illegal and don't feed the homeless and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow. I think we're more needed than I thought we were, because if they really want a home and they're working their butt off, I don't care if they're shining shoes. Okay? It's that serious. If they're shining shoes and making the money, why can't they have a home? A trailer, RV, something? I mean, we're looking at gated communities, mini houses. I mean, we left it all open because it's supposed to be about ending homelessness. Okay? So from 2016 to 2020, basically, you're the person who made it this far in the video. Hello, and thank you for staying with me this long. You're the training wheels. The sub-funding is actually a more apropos kind of thing. We're working to not need to ask you, and we're asking for your help to help us not need to ask you. And we got 4 years to do it, so there's your win. So let's talk about where. And I'm turning this off. This is me officially giving you my undivided attention, ignoring the board of directors. And all the people are like, oh, in your video, make sure you mention. Okay. Who, what, when, now we're on to where. And we already covered who way back at the beginning. Okay, so let's get down to where. And this is going to be a really short section because you know what? Where is dependent upon the per capita of needed assistance and service. I got 50 states to cover, and I'm not going to need a 600-room hotel in, say, Wyoming, Montana, Nebraska, kind of territory. You adjust accordingly, and if there is a hotel there that will meet the needs of the self-sustaining model, then we will go ahead and purchase that if we have funds available, and remodel it, retrofit it accordingly, and away we go. Okay, so the where, in all honesty, which is a really short answer, is the continental United States and Hawaii, but we're not going to Puerto Rico because those are like annex states. Okay, I'm sorry. The other where point that makes us get out of this quick is we're talking about California. And Jacob reminded me, we may have to actually multi-spot California because it's so dang long. You're talking about an 8-hour drive from, what was he saying, San Diego down to LA or something like that. It's like just straight down the coast and you just keep driving and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, really? Okay. Colorado is planning housing and charitable donations, but they're not really planning to do the hotel. I'm letting Robert shape his own program, and he's got some resorts, which is fun. We checked all of it against lawyers and the IRS before we did this, because you're like, you have a resort? Yeah. I was a little surprised too. The lady's like, go down to Corpus Christi and buy one of those resorts, ones that close, and then, work out your balance and make sure that no more than 50% goes to, and have at. And it's like, wow. So as long as we're paying salary and staff, which requires, necessary needs for building, do what we want. Gated communities, so on and so forth, can't do rent, so we can do straight out of homeless into a home. Can't furnish it, that's another program. Can't do this, that's another program. But yeah, the where is everywhere. And I didn't forget about my home state. People keep saying, well, you live in Minnesota. It's like, you know what? I didn't forget. What no one's understanding is this fund right here is for everybody to get something done. there's an East Central Assistance Fund that we have set up on GoFundMe, because people are, oh, we want to hear GoFundMe. It's like, okay, well, that's y'all's little fundraiser, strictly for Minnesota, draw a circle, an ever-growing circle of Minnesota. But it's not fair to ask, Washington State to pay for East Central emergency assistance and vice versa. It would actually be fraud for us to pay for, Portland, Oregon out of that fund. So that's why this was created. And that's why I say the where is simple. It's everywhere. And I didn't forget about my state. I'm hoping that as we mature and people notice us, that they will go, oh, I know where to go. I'm calling Jeff. Jeff will know what to do. Yes, sir. That's what I'm here for. Yep, that's what I'm here for. So, please, and thank you. Thank you for spending this time with me. And it, went a little longer than I planned. Sorry. Like I said, kind of my passion here. I've been homeless. Everyone on our board has been homeless. Every last member, all 5, have been homeless. And some of them with children. So when we say that we get it, we're not doing the hubris thing of, we've been homeless and we know what we're doing. We're looking at, how did you get help? Where did you go? Could that have been better? Yes, it could have been better. We were on a property in Garrison, Minnesota. The lady had said, well, I'm going back to the cities. I'm not dealing with this. And we thought, we should build off the garage. We should build in the pole barn. Perfectly good pole barn. Already had a room in it. Let's just expand that into, a home for us and our 2 daughters at the time. And no one would back it. It would all be, oh, that's a construction loan. That's this. You know what? Too many people trying to make profit, and it's reasonable. Okay, don't get me wrong here. I'm not all socialist. Anyway, but at the same time, there are people below that line that need that help. That they just need help. You've got a home, you've got a place, you've got an apartment, you've got all sorts of things going on in your life, and you just need someone to come along and go, oh, is that all you want to do? Come on, I'll help you. I am Jeff Blanks. I am the chairman of Together and Home at Last, the big kahuna himself, or Baby Kodiak if you caught me on the wall radio. I've got a lot of jobs to keep this going. And you'll talk to your dispatcher, Jeff, later on. So, thank you for stopping by. Please consider giving us some assistance and not looking for you to blow your mortgage, because that brings you to us sooner. So, $5. $1. Like I said, I'd ask for a quarter, but they won't let me. We'll just take a quarter each out of these people who stop by and talk to us. It'll add up. And it's like, nope. Yeah, $1. Yeah, can do $1. So, thanks, guys. It's been fun. And, like I said, give me a call. We'll talk. Okay?